What's up, guys? Chasing Lanely here, and I'm super excited to bring you this news. I've been waiting for it for so long. I don't mind admitting, I actually cried a little bit when this was announced. We finally have footage of women's football in FM26. I couldn't be happier to be able to show you this because it's been quite a big deal. We're going to have a little look through the trailer together, and unfortunately, I can't play the audio. It gets us copy strike, but here we are with the women's football announcement on FM26. We're going to go through all the footage we've got. We've got quite a few leagues and stuff coming in as well, from what I've seen. And R. Kelly has come to introduce the whole thing to us. Not R. Kelly, the disgraced singer, R. Kelly. So this is our first look at, well, I'm guessing we are in the Bundesliga since we've got the Fußball die Feminin at the top there. But this is our first look, and the stadium feels like the right size for the average women's game. Unfortunately, it's still not playing at the main stadiums, but it's looking good. It's looking tidy. I will say, though, bearing in mind I've got this in 1080p, these graphics aren't it, are they, Chief? This doesn't look fully cooked, if I'm honest. But one thing that is interesting for me to see here is that we are actually seeing properly proportioned female players, which I didn't expect to see. There seems to be a good range in heights and shapes and sizes, which we love to see. But also, one thing coming on from the match engine footage we've seen before, I'm quite excited by, is that now we can see the players have actual weight. By the way, we've got our first look at actual match commentary there. Let's just dip back very briefly here. We've got our first look at the actual match commentary here as well at the bottom. That's looking much, much tidier. And especially having that as a proper, tidy in-game visual is lovely to see. But also, we have a little look here in sort of half speed time. We can see again the player motion thing going, the actual physics impacting the players. One thing, for those of you who are football fans who don't necessarily watch women's football, I've been watching women's football since 1993, so this is why it's such a big deal for me. I've been asking for this in FM for 10 years now, and we've got 14 leagues confirmed, which is lovely. So we've got the American League, most of the European leagues, the Japanese League, and the Australian League, which is nice. Pretty strong all-round thing. But yeah, the women's game moves very differently to men's football. The players have a lower centre of gravity, so a lot of the trickier players, for those who've never watched any women's football, I really do recommend checking it out, because where you'll have like a Messi or Ronaldo in men's football that can do a little trick, in women's football, those trickier players, like, they just vanish. They are like magicians. It's beautiful. But we see here we've got some confirmation of leagues. So in the English game, we're going to have obviously WSL 1 and 2, which is lovely to see, alongside the regular English men's leagues, so we can play them at the same time, have them in at the same time, which is lovely. By the way, I feel like if I'm going to do a main save this year, we're going to be starting with the London City Lionesses, just because they are the one unique team in the WSL that doesn't have a Premier League counterpart, so that could be a thing for us. But so I am a little bit concerned by the fact that they haven't got anything in the men's league below League 2, but I assume we will still get the Conference and Conference North and South, which is lovely to see. Let's just see who they've how the licenses look as well while we're in here, because obviously we know we've got the Premier League licenses. We've also got Durham in there with fully licensed. It's beautiful. We love to see it. We're not going to worry too much about this mess because. But you know, we'll let it be, and then we get to see the Google Pixel Frauen-Bundesliga as well. So it looks like we're only getting one tier. I think they've got 2 or 3 in Germany off the top of my head. I don't watch a lot of the Frauen-Bundesliga, but some big names in there represented as well. Karlsruhe, for those of you who are older, will ring a bell. We've then, of course, got the Damallsvenskan, which is the Swedish top flight. It looks like we've got the top 2 tiers of Swedish women's football, which is beautiful to see. It's a great league, is the Swedish league. I do occasionally find myself watching it, and this is our confirmation of the player count for the women's game here as well. A very impressive 41,752, which is quite a big number. The men's side has 450-ish thousand, I think. So considering where we're at, that's actually not too bad, and it will grow over the next few years, I'm sure. And this is just beautiful in-game footage. Again, not entirely sure about the player modeling in the women's game. I don't think it looks as good as it did in the men's game, I will say. I also quite like the fact we've got a leave match on. I know this is because they're watching it in spectator mode, or if we actually are going to have an instant result option in the base game for FM26. That would be lovely to see. We've got the Lee McDonald's there as well. Love a bit of corporate branding. But yeah, you can play everything together, which is lovely to see. I'm really happy that we're going to be able to switch between the men's and women's game as we wish. This is from the Swedish league. It's BK Haken in the yellow and black, and I cannot remember the name of the team in white because my brain has failed me today. But it's a gorgeous shot. It's a gorgeous goal. What are we doing there? What are we doing? Beautiful stuff. I cannot wait to get stuck into this. I'm so excited to get stuck into playing with the Women's League in FM26. I will be doing a lot of it. I've already said it, I think, in the comments that on release date, we will... I've got a link, by the way, if you want to pre-order the game, there'll be a link to a Fanatical affiliate code below. If you want to buy the game, help me out. That'd do wonders for me whilst Kelly's having a lovely chat for us. So if you want to go check that out, there'll be a link in the description below for you to pre-order and get the access to the beta as well. And then we've got a view here of the player screen as well. Another view of the player screen with Bunny Shaw. Love a bit of Bunny Shaw. And they've announced that the player stats will still go up to 20 in the women's game, which is nice to see. Obviously, it will be relative. So I assume if there's an online option, you'll be able to pick players from both sides. I'm not sure. I'm sure we'll get confirmation of that in due course. So this is all relative to the women's game for anyone who goes, but they're not as good. I mean, fundamentally not fully true, but that's a different video for a different time as I explain why you don't compare men's and women's football. But yeah, we're going to see great stats like this. I think a 19 finishing and an 18 composure. What more do you want in a striker, really? And Alex Greenwood here, who's been rated very highly on her passing more than an attack. I'm not sure I necessarily agree with that as a stat rating for her, but you know, the FM gods know better than I do, but there we go. And then we've got Yui Hasegawa as well, who is a very, very good player. If you've never had the pleasure, I do recommend checking her out. Incredible footballer, really good footballer. And then we've got some of the mocap stuff here as well they've done with actual women's players, so they can get all of those movements right, because I said it's a very different type of movement in women's football to men's football. The players, I said, lower center of gravity. They tend to be a little bit more nimble, so you do occasionally see some fantastic trickery pulled off, and then we get to see how that all plays off in the game as well, which is lovely to see. Great through ball there, and we're away. And this is actually pretty representative of the kind of trickery you see in the women's game, where a player will just drop a shoulder and disappear, and straight in there. Gorgeous stuff. Also, while we're here, the backgrounds, they're so much improved. We haven't got the isometric trees anymore. Those are real trees. I know it's a weird thing to know. I hope the in-stadium stuff looks better with no random stray ambulances and picnic tables and stuff. But the backdrop, absolutely stunning. That's so much better than we're used to in FM24. And we've got a whole bunch of quotes here as well. People talking about how they've been... Well, this is where, it's the first time we've brought it in. I do want to reiterate, I've been asking for this for 10 years. Since I was a researcher on the game. I even offered to go and do some scouting of the women's game, and they weren't ready for it. But now we are, and we are ready. We are ready for this. Everyone is excited for it. If you're not excited for it, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It's going to change how you play Football Manager. It's going to change how you think about football. It is going to really just give you something very fresh and new to dig into. And that's why I'm so excited, to be honest, because, as I said, I've been playing Football Manager since it was Championship Manager 2, and never before have I been this excited by one feature added to the game. Got a lovely graphic here just to show that, you know, there are female managers, we'll let that one disappear into the ether. But I am very, very excited for this. As I hope you can tell, I'm so excited for this because it's been so long coming. We're going to have a good time with it. We're going to really properly explore it. I hope you're as excited for this as I am. Let me know in the comments below, by the way, who your first save is going to be on FM26. It can be men's, it can be women's. I'm really excited to check out the WSL to start off with. And then we'll probably hop around a little bit and we'll make our way into the men's game. We'll dominate both. Why not? That's probably the plan. But for now, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. I have, as always, been chasing lamely. Do like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that good stuff. As I said, leave your comments down below. I really want to know who your first save is. Also, when the beta drops, which, of course, as I said, you can get access to using my my link below, I will be doing the beginner's guide again. I know a lot of people came to the channel because I did that huge beginner's guide for FM24. It was like 5 episodes where I dug into everything from the basics to how you set up your team to managing financials, which people don't talk about enough. I will do something where I talk through managing financials in FM26, because if you aren't making money on the balance sheet, then you can't complain when you haven't got a transfer budget after a good season, because you've overspent. That's just how it works. But anyway, I'll get into that in detail when the game drops. I've seen Kev saying that he thinks October 14th is a good date for that. I agree. I think that's probably a strong guess. It won't be after the 14th. It's almost always on a Thursday, so it won't be the 21st. It's too close to the release date on November 4th. 14th is the latest I think we'll see it. We might even see it on the 7th, depending how SI feel about it. But rest assured, as soon as that is dropped, I will start recording content. We'll get ourselves good to go. And hopefully we can have a very, very good year together, get ourselves back on track with the release schedule, and we're going to have some fun. But for now, thanks for watching, guys. As I said before, like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave the comments down below. All really helps me out. And until next time, stay safe and have a good one.